We are ready to bring you stories. We are ready to chat. We will be right back in a moment with Stories of Overcoming with Lisa Santiago McNeill. Woohoo! And we are live, and I'm so excited to be here on this fantastic, or I guess I should say wonderful Wednesday, on this wonderful Wednesday. Today, I have actually had such an amazing and full day already so far. This morning, we started out with our morning show, Brian and I, and we had the topic of words work wonders. Words work wonders. And we talked about the fact that words can actually do so many things. They can connect us, they can divide us, they can uplift us, they can deflate us, they can encourage us, they can nurture us, they can support us, and they can empower and motivate us. And that's why I love using my words in a positive way to bring people to share their words with you so that all of us can be uplifted and inspired so that we can move forward in ways that sometimes doing it on your own independently, it can feel a little bit cumbersome. Sometimes life gets a little bit heavy, and when we're in the midst of that heavy, we sometimes need somebody on the outside saying, wait a minute, it's not always heavy, or it's not always going to be heavy, or even what's better, hey, let me help carry some of that heavy. And what that does is it actually makes it lighter and brighter. And each of us actually can go so much further just because we've taken the time to partner together and figure out ways to help one another. Well, with these stories of overcoming, I get to do just that. I get to do just that every week. I get to bring my energy and partner with someone else's energy to introduce you guys to something maybe that you don't know, maybe something that you wish you knew, or maybe you get to be the guest and bring some of your wisdom to my audience. Today is an actual returning guest, which I'm so excited. We had so much fun together when she had the chance to join with us, and now she's coming back to share with us even more about her story and some great news that she wants to share. I want you guys to help me to introduce Lisa Cassenti. Hey, Lisa, thank you so much for joining with me today. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to the audience any way that you would like?
Yes, Lisa, thank you. I just want to thank you and your audience for inviting me back. This is very exciting for me. I feel very blessed. So thank you.
We're so glad to have you. We're so glad. Go ahead, continue.
I'm excited to be here. So my name is Lisa Cassenti, and if you saw part one of my story, or even if you didn't, I'll give you a quick reminder. So as I said, I'm Lisa Cassenti. I am a breast cancer thriver, and I spoke about my story. It was everything from talking about postpartum depression to being diagnosed with breast cancer as a single mama, to some of the things that I learned along this journey. So those are the things that we talked about. My background is actually in biology and special education, and I had a career change during my health journey, and it was because of my health journey. So I do something very different now. I transform lives by restoring hope, health, and happiness. So it's something that I'm excited to do. And that's me. I'm still a little nervous, Lisa. Public speaking is something that, even though it's virtual, it's still something that makes me uncomfortable. But I do it because I have something to share. So
there we go. And that's what we want to focus on. It's okay to be a little bit nervous, but to understand that beyond those nerves is your purpose. And the things that you have been able to accomplish and experience are so life-changing that that's what we want to press and impress upon the audience, so that if it fits in some area of their lives where it could help them, that we will be able to connect them with the resources and tools and information that they need. So tell us a little bit more. I know that you did share the last time, you shared how the information that you got from a friend actually changed your life, but it also changed your father's life as well. You want to share, first of all, share a little bit about what happened, that and maybe even a little bit of the type of product that it was that helped you to have the experience that you got.
sure, sure. So this is basically telling the story of how my career changed in the midst of my health journey. So if everyone remembers when I spoke about just the the beginning of my story, and I talked about what created the perfect storm in my body, which was basically just not taking care of myself, not allowing myself to have a break, working ridiculous hours while being a single mama and breastfeeding. Perfect storm created in my body. So, and it's important for me to mention that to kind of go back. And so I also, as a reminder, my daughter was 9 months at the time when I was diagnosed, and I felt that my world had literally crashed down around me, and I was living some of the darkest days of my life when I should have been the most joyful. Because, even bringing my daughter into this world, that was a miracle. So to be her mommy for 9 months and then hit with something like this, really just took my breath.
So yes, and so we can be a little bit clear because some of the people didn't have the opportunity to watch the programming before. So you were thrown into single momhood. You were breastfeeding. I think you had some challenges with breastfeeding and finally overcame them. So now this was a bonding experience that you were having with your daughter. Then you got hit with postpartum in addition to all of that. And beyond that, the stress and everything came together, and there was a was it a lump or a mass that they found?
Oh, I felt a lump in my
Mhm,
armpit area. They call it
mhm.
axilla. And yes, and it basically, we did a biopsy, and in my mind, I said, this is just, this is a breast infection. This can't be
Right.
anything more than that. But what I was feeling, that lump was actually an enlarged lymph node, and it was enlarged because of cancer. So where it originated was in my left breast, but it expanded and metastasized to at least one of my lymph nodes. So we went over the questions and the fear that went through my body, and I was even told in such a positive, loving way. I mean, the most positive you could be told, that you have this diagnosis. But the fear that went through my body, all of these questions: how long do I have? Am I going to see my daughter grow up? What, how far did this cancer go? It was just, it wasn't, it was a snowball of all of these thoughts. And Lisa, to be completely honest, my mindset, we talked about this before, but my mindset prior to that diagnosis was not in a great place. And that was the one area that I had neglected. I might have, I worked on other areas of my health. Mindset, that was not something I was working on. So I was in not a great place. And
That is not a great place to fight. When you're in a place where you don't have your mindset structured, meaning you don't already know the tools to use the right words, to think the right thoughts, that can actually be like you giving your adversary extra tools to use against you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I knew intuitively that my mindset was going to be something I had to work on.
Mm,
So I'm not going to go into just everything, but as a reminder, I decided to go with traditional treatments, and I knew that the journey was going to be a long one. It wasn't simply one treatment, one surgery. It was going to be multiple things. So long,
right.
one step at a time, though, one step at a time. But so basically, as I was experiencing the negative effects of the traditional treatments, I was not in a great way. I was napping more than my 1 year old, which sounds funny, but it wasn't. I wanted to be her mama and do things.
Right.
Um, my days were, I had, I had days that I would say were more bad days than good days. So
Hmm.
being able to go out and just take a day trip, things like that, the nausea, all of the things that I felt, but I think what suffered the most was really my mindset. So one of my dearest friends, Marina Saran, she dragged me out of bed. Well, she was on the phone and she said to me, Lisa, you're coming with me to this yoga class. And she was very persistent. And I said, Marina, I'm exhausted. I just need sleep. And she said, nope, we got to get that body moving. That wasn't exactly her terms, but something like that. And so I went to this yoga class, and there was a wonderful Kundalini yoga instructor there, Darlene Targ. And at the end of class, she came up to me, and she knew what was going on because, I had the look, the paleness, not a stitch of hair on my head, like not even eyelashes. And she took a chance. She came up to me and she said, Lisa, I know you don't really know me. She said, but I know what you're going through. And there is something that I feel so compelled to share with you right now. Um, I've, I've learned about these two products that are truly scientific game changers. And I don't know what it could do for your health, but I know that it can't hurt you. Would you be open? And
Right.
she didn't know the state that I was in, that I was like, I was open to looking, something, please, intervene here and help me.
Right.
Because I felt like I was failing. Um, but the other part that I just want to say is, so Darlene had no idea that my father had been suffering with a major health challenge. And basically 3 years and 3 months prior to us having this conversation in the yoga studio, my father had a major neurological event, and it killed 90% of his cerebellum. So the cerebellum is the part in the brain that allows us to have balance and coordination. And there's many things that we don't even understand that the cerebellum does. So, Darlene had no idea that at home, my hero, my father, was living the poorest quality of life that I would never wish upon anybody. So my father went from working, being an ecstatic human being, loving life, to being a person that could no longer cross the street by himself, could no longer turn his head to the right or left unless he did it painstakingly slow, and felt every moment of every day that he was on a roller coaster. And that was all of the time, with intense vertigo, not knowing where's the ceiling, where's the floor. He,
Right.
he was suffering. And Lisa, we were told 2 years into my father's health journey, we were told that the brain did all the healing that it would ever do. There was nothing more that they could do.
And that was it.
Yeah. And
And
that,
that was basically all they could do. There was nothing else. He'll live with it or he won't. You'll have to learn how to adapt to it or you won't. And basically that's it.
yeah.
But now the products that Darlene showed to you, how did you decide to also share them with your father? Had you already tried them, or where did the two connect?
Okay. So Darlene and her husband at the time, Stephen Otard, they introduced me because they had partnered with this company. So they introduced me to the idea, to the concept. And then I learned more about it, and my biology background, I wanted to like dive right into it. It was exciting. It was something that I never thought could ever be possible. This goes beyond nutrition. It's not nutrition. It goes beyond kind of what we really can comprehend. So she was persistent. And for that, I tell her all the time, she and her husband, her ex-husband, are my angels. And the rest of the people that kind of stepped up to share their story with me. That was how I came to really learn about it. It was the combination of the science, and it was a combination of the stories and the passion that came off of these people when they told me about this remarkable company. So, and then there was also someone that is on the medical board of directors, that a very compassionate, amazing man, that it didn't matter to him that I was, just a potential customer or whatever it may be. He got on the phone with me to explain to me the possibility. And it was there in those conversations, and one conversation that struck me. So there was a young woman that I think she was in her 20s. She was, just the prime of her life, doing what she wanted to do. And she was hit by a drunk driver. And that accident caused her to have such a major traumatic brain injury that her life had been impacted to the degree, in a different way, but like my father's life had been impacted. She couldn't hold a conversation for long. She couldn't walk the dog and talk to somebody, like somebody that was brilliant at one time, not able to just be in a room with other people talking. Shocking. So it was her story and what happened to her, where she was the biggest skeptic, like my father. And to see her transformation in like a 3-minute video or something, that struck a chord with me. And I said, we tried absolutely everything. Why would we not try this? Give it a chance. I knew it couldn't hurt him. So basically it was that made me take a look. And, I am grateful, thankful every day that my higher power, the universe, everything aligned for me to get that message. And then I was open on that day. And I tell people all the time that what an impact one person going out of their comfort zone and sharing something, what an impact that can make. Because what happened is, well, Lisa, let me stop because I digressed. So I'm going to stop and ask you to center me.
So what I gather is that you were so moved by everybody's experiences that, and at the very same time, sort of at the end of options for yourself and your father, that it was an opportunity. It was almost one of those, we might as well try it situations.
Yes. And it was about my father. A lot of times people do things for your loved ones, their loved ones, not for themselves. So for me, it was, my mind was still processing everything. But for my father, there were no options. And so I crazily, Lisa, did not have the money. I put it on a credit card. And that was scary for me to make that decision. But I bought as much product as I could because in my head, it was about, my whole family has health challenges. My brother has a spinal cord injury. My mom has autoimmune issues, lots of things in my family. So it was, we're going to all do this at the same time because that's how we're going to see, is this snake oil or is this the real deal? So that's what I did. And my father was so angry at me because he knew the position that I was in. I was no longer able to do the job that I was doing because,
Well, let's hold, yes. So let's hold it right there because I do want to come back and talk about that. I do want to take a brief pause for some of our amazing sponsors, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about how things changed, how they changed, and what the response was after they changed. We will be back in a moment.
Hello, I'm Brian K. McNeill, the Sales Confidence Coach. And what I do is I help service based entrepreneurs to sell their services better than they ever have before so they can earn more money than ever before. I teach them what to say and what to do that infuses them with more confidence in their business than ever before. Again, my name is Brian K. McNeill, and I am the Sales Confidence Coach.
I absolutely love that guy, and I'm so excited that he has chosen to be one of our amazing sponsors. So, Lisa, when we are hit with this, your father was like, he was at the place where he knew that you were not in a financial position to make this purchase for the whole family, essentially. And at that point, none of you guys had had any experience with it or results with it. So it was pretty, a pretty big risk that you took.
well, yes, but I knew we had 30 days to try it, the typical stuff, yada, yada, yada. So I just said, you know what? I can't. It was already hard enough to deal with my dad's challenges and everything else. We had to get one of us had to get something from this. So that was really my hope, and I saw hope. And so I took the chance, I took the chance. And I figured, I always, not always, but I usually think, or now this is my mindset, what is the best possible outcome? So that was what I
Absolutely.
was thinking. The best possible outcome is that we get something positive from this. And the chances, because it was my whole immediate family, the chances were higher, right, than if it was just my dad.
Mhm.
So, so the story goes that I start my dad on two of the products, these two, the game changers. And, and he follows my directions because he follows it to a T. And every day I would ask my dad, do you feel anything? Do you feel anything? He was pretty irritated. He thought I was loony. He thought I was cracking up, actually, I think. And, but then what happens is, so 3.5 days into using the liquid and there's a topical form. My dad was sitting on a love seat with my mom. My mom was watching TV. He had his eyes closed because his sensory system was completely overwhelmed all the time. And he explains to me that what happened next was that he opened his eyes and the world was spinning as usual when he opened his eyes, status quo for him. And then it stopped. It stopped spinning. The world stopped spinning for my dad. We
Wow.
never thought that could be possible. And my dad had no idea. He thought he was having another event. He was scared. And then a half an hour goes by and he's still the same. The world is not spinning. He tells me that he was like, I wish I was there. He was like a superhero trying out his new superpowers,
Yeah.
spinning, doing pirouettes, just jumping, looking to the right, looking to the left, up and down, and able to do this, not being turned, feeling that the world was turning on multiple axes. And he couldn't understand that this was happening. And I learn about this the next day. I'm groggy. I wake up, I'm holding my daughter, and my dad comes out and he's so cheerful. And I'm thinking, oh, it's morning. And my dad said, Lisa, check this out. And he starts turning around and looking up and down. And I'm saying, Dad, what are you doing? And then my dad said, the stuff. And I said, are you are you effing kidding me? And I've got my little girl, and I'm like, I want to jump out of my body because the most miraculous thing happened to our family.
Yes.
And Lisa, people still don't believe this. I have videos of my dad before, videos after. And so that happened to our family. We saw it with our own eyes. We were
Wow.
afraid to tell people. And that moment, that technology, that company, what they did, it got into my heart. It got into my brain. It became part of my purpose. I
Yes.
had restored hope. And it was, this can do this for me. It can do this for people that suffer. Let me share this. And of course, I
Yes.
didn't know how to share it. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's talk about that because we've only got 6 more minutes before
Sorry.
we need to move to go. But I want people to understand that they can go to lisacassenti.com to just schedule a moment with you to understand more about the products and how it can help them in their health journey, what it can do for them. Now, that was how it helped your dad. It had a different impact on your physiology. You want to share what your challenge was? We know you were dealing with the recourse of the treatment, the nausea, the hair loss, the everything else. We can see your hair is back.
Yes. So for me, and because we have 6 minutes, I really just want to say the biggest impact, and I can't stress this enough, was my mindset, because it was hope came back. I was able to dream again. It wasn't just about, can my health be restored? It was, this is a piece to the puzzle. I felt it, like I knew it. This is a piece to the puzzle, and I have other pieces, and I'll just keep finding them. And then it became a way for me to have some income coming in as I was going through. I mean, if you don't realize, cancer's a full-time job, and then I was a single mama on top of that. Where else was what was I going to do? So it became hope for me physically, my financial health, my mindset. So that that's a big takeaway. But I want to make sure, Lisa, that I am giving your followers, your audience, what is like most critical from this story. So I want you to ask me what you think would be most helpful.
So yes, so I think I definitely get that mindset. It is a critical component to any healing, any overcoming. But there are obviously some other elements, some chemical or vitamins or medicinal elements that this does to integrate into your body to help your cells to work the way that they were intended to work.
Exactly. So to share, and I can't explain it in 3 minutes. I have information that I could share with people, and they can even experience, they can experience the topical form if they want. They could reach out to me, and there's something there. Well, supplies are still there. I'll be able to share, but it's not a vitamin or a mineral or an herbal supplement, essential oil, CBD. Those are all the things that people know about. It's beyond nutrition, and it's essentially putting something back in our bodies that we don't make enough of. And that as we age, as we're exposed to the environment, these very special, teeny tiny little, I'm trying to think of how to explain it, but there are these messengers that are part of our body. We make them all the time. In fact, we wouldn't be alive if we didn't make them, but we don't make enough of them. So it's this biotech company found a way to create this by using building blocks of our body. And so when our body takes it in, whether it's that you are putting it in your mouth and it's liquid, or using it on your body, these messengers are letting our cells have effective communication, which is, at the root of everything. You want your body, your cells to talk. And so it doesn't matter what is going on in the body. We always look, what's the root cause? Well, you don't actually have to know, but we always know the root cause is that there is not efficient communication in the body. So this allows the body to do what it needs to do. And how I am beyond grateful and joyful that this exists, and so few people know about it, that this is part of my mission, and I'm growing a team so it's a global expansion team so that we can continue to share this. People need to know that it's an option.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you coming and sharing it with our audience. I know that there are many people that are being challenged these days with so many different health issues because we have pollution, we have so many different things that impact our health from the inside and out. We have chemicals in our food, we have chemicals in our air, we have all these types of things that cause instability within us. Instability, inflammation, lack of communication between our cells, so that the things that used to or that were intended to heal themselves don't. They don't work anymore. We've broken them. So if there is some way that this can help us to bring those things back into alignment, I would encourage you to connect with Lisa Cassenti at lisacassenti.com. You can go to her website and schedule a virtual tea or coffee. You can check out the video of her journey, and you can have the opportunity to join the sample program to potentially take advantage of and experience the results for yourself. Lisa, thank you so much for being my guest today. I appreciate you joining. Would you mind hanging out for me for just a moment in the green room?
Yes, thank you. I just want to send so much love and gratitude to you, your team, and your audience. Thank you for letting me
I
share.
appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Once again, I am lisasantiago.com. I want to encourage you to take advantage of the information and resources that we share with you on these broadcasts. lisacassenti.com. You can connect with her to get some of those questions answered, to maybe get a sample to see how it can impact some of the challenges that you may be having, and find out more if there are any other questions that you might have. She would be the one to answer them for you and with you. I want to tell you that once again, words work wonders, and mastering your mindset, telling your story so that you can get your story told with your truth, are ways that we don't only heal ourselves, but we also help others to heal. You could not begin to imagine the number of authors that I have worked with, that when they finally get that story told and finally get it into the right audience, they come to a place where someone says, "Oh my God, I thought I was the only one," or "Oh my goodness, I never knew that anybody else did this, felt this, saw this, heard this." And it is in the darkness of the silence of you keeping that to yourself that you are adding to someone else's suffering. So be the light that they need to see by sharing your story. If I can help you with your story or your personal journey to wholeness, please reach out to me. My connection is I am lisasantiago.com/calendar. Get on my calendar. Let's have a quick conversation and see if I'm the one to help to bring your story to light. I am Lisa Santiago McNeill, and permission to be amazing has already been granted. Walk in the fullness of your truth. Have an amazing day. We'll see you next week.